Nouns looked confident on their own map pick, but now they're on the pick of their opponents. EG looking to bounce back, looking to find some form after the complete lack thereof on map number 1. It's Pineapple Phillips and Boggs on the microphone. And Nouns, as I mentioned, a masterclass, 13-4 on Vertigo, losing a couple rounds here and there by their own mistakes, not their opponents' better plays, and does not bode well for EG going into the T side of Ancient. CJ walking through the smoke in middle, beheads autimatic alone and on an island. That is a good start. Walko spotted coming in towards B, but Nouns are ready with a retake setup for this site.
They've already got a flank too, and B Wills deals with 2 as he gets the second on a Wiz as well. Already dropping Jeorge. Marquis felled by Walko, who doubles up. Junior has another. Walko still fighting. Junior dropped by Cynic. It's all bell ringing and a dink onto CJ. 1v2, a lineup, and Walko gets another 4K. This time has to fight his way out of a sticky situation in Cave. They double swing him, and he destroys them. Well done again by Walko as he steps up in a big way for EG. Really making a case to anybody who's looking for an in-game leader. Hey, I'm here, and I might just be a free agent here after playoffs are over. Walko, what a performance again. Kickoff here on map number 2. And a much-needed pistol round victory for EG on Ancient 2 to get this one started off on the right foot. There's going to be a counter force here from Nouns, Nate. The Deagles, the MP9s, they're out and in action.
They're a very scary proposition as well. Keep in mind, I don't think EG won a single pistol round on that last map. They did prevent the conversion in half number 2, but was not nearly enough to stem the bleeding on that one. It was too far gone at that stage. Opener, though, secured onto B-Wills. And Cynic, an off angle, does not respect the boost up. Jeorge does a bit of damage, forcing him away. Should be a rather succinct one for EG. The question is how much bleeding can Nouns cause? Marquis is close donut, and that is meddlesome. CJ as well, disrupt Wiz across the map. The 5-7 finds no success, though. CJ's flank is also called out. Cynic now at 12. Back sight should not be long for this world. Carson at this point is just trying to find 1 or 2 kills to make the round a little bit more costly.
Jeorge knows where they are. He's not going to peek out, and they're going to wait for the flank, and Jeorge will get the last. Walko deals with Carson, and it's a 2-0 start for EG. Only losing the 1 player in Wiz is a very good result for them as well, as they need to build up something positive, build up some money, build up some momentum here as they look to go up 3-0, as Nouns will not invest into this next round. A smoke for CJ, Deagle for him, a P250 for B Wills. Should be all that the Nouns invest into in this round. EG looking like they're going to have a strong start, but can they convert more following the pistol round? Once the guns really come out for Nouns is where things get a little scary for EG. Already looking more confident on a map they like to play a lot more than Vertigo. Still, though, the worrisome signs are there, especially when you look at the pistol round. Relied on a clutch from Walko, which even put him in the position to have a relatively smooth victory on round number 2. B-Will's flamed out of position, though, down to 14 HP. 0 damage taken by EG so far. Unless Marquis can find one in the back, I doubt there will be much more than maybe 1 kill, and Automatic's already ready for it, so that little bit of glimmer of hope. Marquis' little flank amounts to nothing.
Amounts to nothing. This is low, though, so a possibility, but he's farmed up a little bit of cash with those 2. CJ and Carson, the last ones remaining. CJ at least has a Deagle, but this point of kill seems like best case scenario. In fact, Junior on the MAC-10 hunts him down. Instead, a clean 3rd for EG. The rifles will finally come out for Nouns, but EG starting things off far better than they did on map number 1. That was Vertigo. 3-0. Rifles in hand for Nouns. M4A1Ss across the board. No kit. Cynic can buy one, and he should buy one. There it is. EG. Bit of a bonus for them. An AK, 3 Galils, and a MAC-10.
He sold his kit, Nate.
Bought a helmet.
Yeah. Honestly, I understand, given they know that there's a lot of Galils and such for EG, the MAC-10 as well in play. Carson up. Snake will get the first. Junior trades that one easily. Marquis gets singed a little bit, but Junior is tagged down considerably low. Wash being out middle. Snake will have to dive back into Donut before he gets fried. Marquis still fighting around on Snake. Has to be very careful from a push through that smoke. A spam from Wiz will Not to admit, it's a good counter by Marky, taking Wiz down to just under half HP. But we sit at a 4v4 with a lot of that damage going against the evil geniuses. Still not more than 1 kill each side. Cynic will have to watch his back, but as the smoke fades, he gets the drop on 1 and on a second. Goes for the 3rd, and he will mop up all 3. Jeorge down bottom middle. Expected and watched for by CJ. Sprayed down by the A1S, and a very confident and competent round victory here for Nouns as the guns come into their hands for the first time. They only lose 1.
So they do this triple from Cynic, cements the round. Jumping a middle, good mid-round call from Nouns with good support in towards Cave as well. CJ, not the prettiest of sprays, but it still gets the job done versus the Galil. 1-3 Nouns on the board with the first rifle round victory. Keeping 4 alive means they can build up a little bit of a CT economy. Need a second round to really stabilize things, but starting things off well, all things considered. Good utility damage in middle, good spam as well. Cynic finds 1. Walco trades it on to Carson, but Cynic wants to force the issue, flashing out. That's foolhardy. It's Walco at the helm, and he finds another. Now it's B-Will's turn to fight. Into the foray he goes. He'll get 1 before falling back. It's a very big change of pace from Nouns. It's led to mixed results thus far.
Yeah, I didn't like that flash through by Cynic out in mid. I thought that was more aggression than he really needed to go for, especially considering the situation. Maybe throw a support flash for B-Wills to peek up Snake. But at least it ends at level footing for Nouns despite all of that aggression. Now they're going to double clear Donut while EG are grouped up in A. There's a nice clear from B-Wills down B ramp. They now know that B ramp is not pressured, and mid should theoretically be clear, but that's exactly what CJ and Marky are on about now. They're clearing out the middle area, and
flank.
They've
flank is the best call.
I think they think it's B, Nate. I think they still think it's B. No, now they have to know. The utility, it's giving it away.
Flank would have been crazy, though. And in fact, a flank is coming. It's not as quick as you would
both.
expect, but still, it's not respected. Both players going forward.
Oh,
That's bomb. He has the bomb as well. He needs to be careful. He spots both players. He'll have to get away, and he will not do so successfully. The bomb is dropped. Marky finds 2 on the AK. What a heads-up flank. Leaves Jeorge, traditionally a support player, in a clutch. He's found the first, a tagged player, but he needs 2 more. And they're from diametrically opposed angles. B-Wills from behind takes him down. A second on the board for Nouns. Not as convincing, not as clean. The victory is a victory, and they get an op as well for Cynic.
Yeah, it was a very odd and aggressive round from Nouns out in mid. Once it got to the 3v3, though, Marky steps up to the plate, does well for the first 2. And then it was only a matter of time before Jeorge met his inevitable demise. We see a thing, it's not quite yet a tie score line. Walco, rather, will invest heavily into this one, a hero AK. Armor, AK is all he buys, pistols on the rest. Junior will buy nothing at all. I think a flashbang could go a long way to helping Walco find an entry, but he might just be baiting his teammates, using them as human decoys instead. Wiz, however, with a nice little one dig on a B, Will's peeking out through Snake, and Cave, rather, in particular. Jaguar, he's been peeking quite consistently in that direction, and he's been read and called out. I think that's a good adaptation from EG here, who are really pumping the brakes in this round. Cynic is going into Jag himself and is peeking out with that op now as Carson dives in towards middle. CJ soloing the site. Ancient's a map where a lot of times you'll have a solo anchor on site with a lot of mid control. I kind of feel it's similar to Anubis in that regard as well, Nate. And I think EG might just find a way to exploit this by busting in fast and furious onto the A site if they hurry. But Carson's making his way back in turn, and he's got himself a nade to work with. CJ just needs to line up a couple of shots, and this round flips back to the favor of Nouns. That's a nice entry there from CJ. Carson got the nade kill as well. Cynic does meet his maker out in mid, and that creates a bit of an issue here for both sides. EG can fall back and go the other direction, or Nouns can get caught in rotation here. There's a lot of possibilities, a lot of them favoring EG, but the time dwindling down means that one bad kill, the bomb drops an awkward spot, and it completely torpedoes the chances for EG. Line up here for CJ. He gets taken down by autimatic, though, and the rotations are so far away. There's guns down to be salvaged, at least one rifle. This is going to be a bomb plant here for EG, and a decent chance for a solid round out of it all. The AK has not been picked up, though the two pistols are in Donut itself. Walco, that's huge from the in-game leader. Dinked his marquee, but he can still find the victory here. Junior's a 2 shot. Walco's a 1 shot. There's a nice little Glock headshot from Junior, and EG are finding ways to win rounds that might be broken and bruised and battered, but they escape with a victory nonetheless.
Yes, they do. And the economy of Nouns was not in the best of ways either. I really like their reads. I like their setups. The issue is that they aren't ready for the take. They can't get enough kills on the site. The pistol's mobbing them down on A. The aggressive holds towards Jaguar, though, do find effective control of both middle and B when it's permitted. It's going to be pistols yet again for the CT side. 2 P250s, 2 Deagles, and 1 set of Kevlar, and a smoke for Carson. Aggressive posturing for CJ. I respect this call, but Jeorge is trying to clear everything as studiously as he can. Never mind. CJ on the P250 taps him out. Flash's support can't even blind him. B-Will's towards the B side of things. It's tagged down by a nade. You need to be careful. And as I say that, Carson takes on the second player outside A main. That's 2 recoverable rifles, and now things can snowball out of control, especially with the bomb. If Carson forces the issue, he might just spot that precious piece of cargo. Spots the head instead. Junior taps him away. They don't know the bomb is here. DJ pressuring forward once the duel, though. Takes the battle and sends Walco to find the next. Walco and Wiz bail them out big. Just B-Wills, the player tagged down by the nade, try and pick up the pieces. He'll go through T-spawn, but I can't imagine he finds more than 1 kill in a situation like this.
That's a big league bailout from the EG squad, as they were in a very sticky situation. They found a way to get out of it. B-Wills may be getting 1 more kill, but Wiz is on the right angle, and he will dispatch B-Wills in kind. 5-2 lead here on the T side of Ancient for EG, and they are getting more and more confident here as time wears on. Nouns as a team do tend to be a little bit better on their CT or their T side of Ancient. And as for EG, they are better on the CT side, so they're doing a good job right now, a 57.8% win rate on the defense versus a 49.8 on the offense, where they currently lie. Op out for Cynic, though, again, no kit for the Nouns side. This has been a recurring situation for them when they're on a bit of a scrappy investment. Molotov a little bit late. Marquee in the smoke will just reload as B-Will spams. Rotations flying in. Walco's gone in front of that, though, but he's traced by CJ. That's a good read there. Molly long, and then just spray it and hope you get the kill. B-Will's, though, he's dead. Oh, never mind. He smokes it off and lives with a threat of his life.
The replayers here coming down on the flank. Should clear back behind the doors. Flash might even convey it. Yeah, B-Wills knows it's a possibility. Smoke goes down instead. Autimatic tries to take the duel, but he's dinked down and forced away. Very solid reads from Nouns thus far as they're making this retake look relatively clean. Push coming in. Jeorge spotted, not quite. Combines fire with Junior. 1 and 2 secured for Jeorge. He's tagged but not bagged. Things going awry for Nouns. Carson finally making inroads. But the player in the corner proves to be too meddlesome. Jeorge finds another automatic trade. Cynic on the up gets another, but it's a 1 versus 1. And there's no time to recover the round. EG, a 6th on the board. Sure, Autimatic falls, but they have money. They can reinvest. Cynic saves his op, and his team's economy is left in shambles.
It's timeout time for Nouns. As soon as they can get a buy up again, it has to be timeout time for Nouns, because this has been a disastrous half. A lot of mistakes, a lot of flubs that they should not be making, peaks that are way too aggressive, not peeking together, not clearing out corners. They're losing a lot of fights, but I think a lot of that has to do with an over-aggressive, over-confident attitude. They came into Vertigo, they played their game, and they played it marvelously. They are doing the exact opposite of how they played Vertigo here on Ancient. Meanwhile, EG look alive and woken up. Walco again towards the top of the board. This time his teammates are popping off with kills as well when they need them. Marquee 1, but only 1 on the entry. Jeorge has doubled it up. Autimatic takes out Carson on the skeet shot. CJ only 1. And there's that 7-2 scoreline to the favor of EG. Nouns, timeout here, please. Call a timeout here, Nouns. If you do not, I don't know. I will rage. This has to be timeout time. You have to fix it.
Definitely should be a timeout at the stage. Unless they have some sort of big read, big adjustment they're going to go for. Looks like a big read or big adjustment is what I have to hope for because no tactical timeout comes through. 3 stack towards B. 1 donut, 1 middle. And this is the right call. Nouns have made the right read thus far, but Walco nonetheless finds the entry. Carson coming up middle, can't find anything either. Cynic will nade the smoke in hopes of finding something, but the players are just a little bit too far ahead. The spam does not connect. Now it's an awkward spot. The op is in towards caves, as are some rifles, but we've already seen a B site retake that has ended disastrously for now.
And there hasn't been a kill yet back for Nouns either. B was out on site. Jeorge dispatches him. There's players to come through on the ramp side, but CJ will actually get one on the wall being spammed. There's no time. They've got to save now. Molotov secures the round for EG. Nouns are still putting all this importance on mid. Meanwhile, EG are completely ignoring the angle. They're completely ignoring the whole mid portion of the map, Nate. They're just going for the extremities. They're going side A, they're going side B. They're not dawdling around. They're going in, they're going fast. They're throwing their utility. They're winning their one fight, and that's a whole site. It's a good counter to the mid control that's being showcased by Nouns, and Nouns are not adapting to it at all. They're still going back for mid control. They're letting EG have free reign of everything on the outside of the map. And EG are able to put the bomb down and just hold on to it with 4 or 5 alive. It's not going to be easy to retake that whatsoever. And that's where a timeout could definitely come in handy, where you can discuss things, figure it out, what's going on, say, hey, maybe we shouldn't keep fighting in just completely aggro mid. Maybe we should play a little more site structured, classic 2-1-2. And that's exactly what they do here. B Wills doubles it up, 1 from the grave and 1 with the rifle. There's still support here as well, but the bomb drops forward, and a massive boon for Nouns here as they look to grab a 4th out of this half, and they would definitely need that 8-4 to give this one a winnable situation for themselves instead of what would be certainly a lock for EG. The nade onto Wiz does some more damage, and EG have pumped the brakes. Yeah, I think Nouns have finally made the read, but it comes so far so late into the game, to the half. You have to wonder if it is too little too late here, and they're completely ignoring the ramp now, Nate.
They're fighting in towards caves, clearing out the close spots, and then going back. I can respect the call given the smoke. But yeah, I agree. I think the hold towards B was far too passive. It was very coy. They wanted to go towards cave instead, but EG were already more than content sidestepping that position. At least Nouns do eventually make the read the 3rd times around. Markey drops Wiz. Player in caves fares no better. Carson does an automatic. The last one is the op of Junior. He'll make that first shot look flashy, but with 3 more to find, no bomb on his back, and only 30 seconds to make a miracle happen, you should see Junior saving relatively soon. But he is rather keen on finding some exits, finding some damage. Any kill at this point is consequential to the investment in the next round for Nouns.
Yeah, Nouns are pretty much dead broke. And Junior knows that he swaps to the AK to give himself the best chance. He deals with Carson. And as you said, incredibly consequential. Although actually the money looks to be fine as B-Wills is 4,500. Carson at 5,200. Markey's the only one who can use a buy, and he will have a teammate who can drop him. Or Cynic can drop over the rifle and get dropped an op himself. There is plenty of chances there for that. Either way, things settled out. AK, rather M4s, 1 AK, and the op out on Nouns. Plenty of utility on the board. A kit on everybody but Carson. It's a pretty solid buy for the last round of the half here for Nouns. EG, though, have one of their own. All the fixings there. Cynic, though, hoping for an opera's duel. Flicks out wide, expecting Junior to swing out far wider than that peak. And Junior will take his time, win that one coolly. There's the opening pick for EG here. Using that op to be the spear tip. Now they're going to go in on towards the site. There's still 2 players here. There is one up on cave snake fight. That is going to be B-Wills. B will back away before running into automatic as the take comes in onto the site. Blind. Jeorge sprays and his prayers are answered. And they'll pick up a second onto Carson. Looks like a 9-3 half for EG here. Nate, there's only 2 left standing against them. And B-Wills and Markey are so far away. No Molotovs. They've used their 18. There's been a grand total of almost no damage done against the evil geniuses. 12, 13, and 13 on Jeorge as well. Automatic finally takes a ton of damage, eventually drops to the ground, but it's up to B-Wills. He's got ops trained on him, rifles pushing in. Walco does him down, and it's a 9-3 half to EG this time. as we will head to that halftime break with EG returning the favor on now.
EG answered the likes of Nouns 9-3 start on the first map with a start of their own, the very same on the second. It's Pineapple Phillips and Boggs on the mic. And Nouns, not wanting to let this go to map 3, are trying to bring it back with a pistol round. A good start, a nice double between B, Wills, and Markey. Carson, a middle blindsides automatic, and Cynic dispatches Walco towards long B. Last alive is Jeorge. He's through a main. He's across the map from the actual site take. And this is a clean round for Nouns, a needed round for them to get back into Ancient.
Much needed round indeed, although it will not be flawless. Jeorge at least makes one pay. Carson will trade him out. But a very emphatic response from Nouns going into the second half. Their CT side with a lot to be desired. But maybe they can flip it around on the offense here and completely take over this map. Now, EG only need 4 rounds to take the map and send us on to Mirage, which is map 3. 3 rounds for EG would guarantee overtime. But Nouns pistol round victory and into the counter 4 spy here can set Nouns up to bring the scoreline a lot closer. we can find ourselves at a 9-6 before EG can get a buy in again if Nouns are able to win this one and win it clean. Scout for Junior, Glass Cannon, Pistols on the rest, a Deagle for Wiz, 5.7s, and a CZ on Walco. Of all guns to use, a CZ-75 auto. Jeorge is stuck behind Big Box, though, and he will be discovered here. Never mind, he dives back into Temple, so he will live to fight another day as the utility rains in. Mac-10 opens up the site, and Jeorge is just dancing and flirting with death and other players, but he's not going to get any damage done.
Not. Players are smoked out. They had donut control as well. I think Nouns still retaining control as well. Yes, they do with Cynic and Carson. It should be able to the clean one unless the Pistols can do something massive. We have seen Junior's flashes have tremendous effect. This one would be the very same one. No, it's a smoke instead. Here comes the flash. CJ up close on site. Should harvest some cash on the Mac-10. One secure, not the second. CJ and Carson. Marky putting up. And just automatic to try and find something. 2 kills is not something to write off. That's good damage done. Cynic finally puts him to bed, securing a 5th for Nouns. But losing 3 players in that kind of post-plant setup is surprising for the Nouns offensive.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely ate a lot of damage there. They got a little close, but they were able to close it out in the end. I mean, would they have liked to lose 3 people? No, but it's also very reminiscent of what happened on Vertigo as well against the Force by Nate. And then remember what happened when they went up against the USPs. They also had 2 survive. So Nouns have to be very careful this round. They look to be going very fast towards B. Molotov thrown in close to hold off a push. And I guess Nouns are playing the opposite of fast, although they will still peek around the fire and flames and continue to pressure in on towards the B site. One of those mid players is rotated over to join the party. That'll be Marky to throw a smoke. I believe that one's going to go towards short. As CJ will open things up onto Wiz there. A little bit messy on the spray, but he gets the job done in the end. Peeking into CT as the smoke goes deep. That's from all the way back in spawn, and Marky's toss. And well, Walco's in Cave and Jaguar, to be precise. This round's pretty much over here, Nate, especially now that Walco's been dropped.
These automatics have a Deagle, and as I mentioned, at B Wilk gets dispatched. Junior drops Carson. Now things can get a little bit interesting. 3 versus 3, a rifle recovered for Junior. He should save that for the following. Doesn't mean he can't go for exits. Marky, Cynic, and CJ. They've secured the round. It'll be 6-9. But 2 AKs being saved for Automatic and Junior is a pretty big deal for the CT economy going into the first rifle round.
Having 2 AKs to carry over is going to be a huge boost for EG. Somebody give that to Walco. Give one of those to Walco, please. Come on, give Walco the AK. He's been a monster. I guess they're gonna let Jeorge have the AK instead, and he's also been solid. 2nd frag on the team. Junior has his op, and Automatic will hold on to the other AK. It's a Galil for B-Wills, AKs on the rest of the Nouns squad, but it does hurt me a little bit that they don't give Walco the AK. And the form he's been in, you definitely want to give Walco an AK.
The one person keeping you in this series even gave you hope on the last map.
Yep.
I have to agree. Junior on the op, though, is the one to open it up. He's had a decent map thus far whenever he's had the op in hand. Cynic, though, just walking up ramp, does find a second. Junior trades it out, maintains the advantage. 4 versus 3. CJ, though, catches Walco falling back out of cave. Good read from him to tie things up. The issue is the op of Junior is still around, and it is still a beast to be reckoned with over towards long. Sure, it's locked behind a smoke now, but those smokes will fade given time.
Smokes will fade, but the bomb is down and ticking. There are kits on Automatic and Jeorge. Junior has those lone 2 frags for EG in this round. And Walco out of the round makes it a little bit more difficult for the evil geniuses here. It's those 2 AKs, and Automatic and Jeorge moving in with the op of Junior. Marky's dodging bullets. He's not moving. He's just waiting for the time to tick down lower and lower. Hear noise like that. That's a great swing from Marky. An even better headshot. Junior's going to try to escape now. Automatic gets one, but the time's too far gone. Junior one more. CJ will escape Jag into the waiting arms of autimatic, who will deal with him, but it's just consolation kills, Pyrrhic victories if that. It thins out the economy a little bit, but overall, the round score has gone from 9-3 to 9-7. It's 4 straight for Nouns here on this T-half, and they don't look like slowing down. Junior's the only reason they even had a chance at a retake in that round.
As Opping has been on solid form in this map, and even when it came out on Vertigo, it didn't look bad either. 7-9, as you mentioned, 4 in a row. Rifles are get in hand for Nouns, but their economy has been kept very honest. Carson on just a Galil rather than an AK. That hurts to see, but makes sense given the punishment that EG has wrought in the round prior.
I like that nade damage into mid, but the better damage is coming from EG's tossing down towards bottom middle. Great Molotov and AG damage from the defense. They do quite a bit onto CJ and Cynic. CJ's spray yields nothing. He doesn't really get to hold that one down too long either for fear of being countered. Although he is still hiding around Jaguar. Walco in the vicinity as well. Molly out for CJ. He will prepare that molly and toss that in. Walco will be walled off for now, but a lot of the utility for EG has already been burned through. Still slightly over a minute to go at 102. And Nouns have yet to really gain any ground anywhere, but they've done a good job of hampering the utility of EG and making sure there's not much left when they actually do go for an explosion, or maybe even for that potential retake once things do settle down to that point. But time is ticking down, and EG are getting antsy. 4 players were all lined up towards middle. One variety or another. Still 3 were in a vertical line, as now autimatic will join up with the A player in Junior. Jeorge will win the first fight, though. Cynic trades it back, and they go onto the B side with 25 to get the bomb down. Cynic moving forward. Wiz found by Markey. Hits that headshot. Carson and Jag has a good position. Walco's going to try and retake his old home. He peeks the wrong way. Doesn't peek deep enough onto Carson. There's 2 left alive for EG, the Op of Junior, the AK of autimatic, who has survived the last few rounds with that gun. And he will have to survive one more at least, because it's a call it quits round from EG. They're waving the white flag. It's going to be a 1-round ball game here. autimatic caught. So is Junior. The money now destroyed for EG. Cynic will not ask for the op either, as that was certainly communicated by Carson as he hovered around the AWP for a while. The Gunganier will be left on the ground. And EG now, I think it's their turn to call a timeout, Nate, because they've lost 5 in a row with nary a response.
Yeah, they made it close a couple times, but they've never gotten across the line. Nouns looking very comfortable in the mid-round, very confident in their contact play towards B. EG on pistols and 1 hero M4 for Jeorge. Nouns very astute on this T side, very well practiced, as you can tell, a well-oiled machine. They've made this comeback look like light work. A walk in towards A main. Wiz is spotting the cross with the deagle in hand. This could do damage at this range, but it's going to be hard pressed to find more than one at best. Reposition in towards the temple. On a couple players, but not get the kill, instead taking a bunch of damage for the peak. Carson all the way through, done it all the way pressed in. Again, the positioning and the plays from Nouns aren't being challenged by EG. So much control gained by Carson there in towards Donut, which is normally a power position for the pistols to hold. 5 versus 3 now secured. Nade of Cynic will do in Markey. That's just an upgrade for the Galil-wielding B-Wills. 9-9. Tied ball game secured, and as you mentioned, a timeout needs to be called by EG.
Oh, yeah. It needs to be called, but they should have called a timeout of Vertigo as well, and it was not initiated. Neither team has used a pause, but Nouns at the very least have recovered more admirably and far more consistently than EG were able to. As a matter of fact, they're about to tie it up. Tick, tick, boom. It's 9-all. We have parity again in the late stages of this one. undefeated on the T side right now are Nouns, and Walco gets found after time. Not like it matters he's on the CT side, but it's more the economic impact of that death that hurts EG even more. Walco has cooled off significantly here on the defense, Nate, and I think that's been the biggest issue for EG. Walco isn't carrying them. He's not finding 2-3 kills at critical times, and nobody else on EG is really finding any multi-kills either, except for Junior, who had that big op play, who had found 3 in the round. They still couldn't get back into it. So for EG, they need a rifle to step up. They need a rifle to have some impact. They cannot just rely on one lone man, and Walco has not had help throughout the course of this series. It worked on the T side, where it is a lot easier to rely on one solo player to get you rounds, but here on the defense, it has proven to be far more difficult, and nobody has yet answered the call. Meanwhile, Nouns are just plodding along one round at a time, one kill at a time, and everyone's chiming in, everyone's having impact. It's not like there's one guy far away above the others. In fact, it's 6 kills separating top from bottom. The bottom is there to support player and B-Wills, whose job it is to mainly toss utility and play around and create some space for his teammates. So you cannot fault him for what he's doing, and Nouns are doing everything right. CJ entry, but Jeorge doubles up. Here's maybe a rifle play that they need. It's a 3-piece for Jeorge now. And as I say, they need somebody to step up. It's usually the man who does. It's Jeorge who finds something. And somehow, some way, it's into a 1v2 here for B-Wills, but he's caught by Junior. And that will be the first on the CT side for EG, and it keeps them in the lead here just by a hair's breadth as we enter round number 20.
EG finally putting a round on the board. The economy of Nouns as well has been kept rather honest. Due to all the damage sustained, they have not built up that much bank. No op present for Cynic either, going back to the AK. The only player with any money left in the bank is CJ. So if they lose this round now, without a bomb plant especially, they're going to be back to pistols more than likely. From there, EG should reestablish their lead. The issue is EG's economy is also in a very similar way, given the narrow victory in the round prior. Nouns spamming back and forth. Good damage onto Walco. They can't quite finish the kill as of yet. An awkward dance is now just bide their time and wait out the CT utility.
There's some spam damage onto Wiz. B-Will still poking and prodding out towards B. The bomb is in that vicinity as well, but it's going to be a ramp aggression from EG. B-Will sets up some utility. It's all down to timing now. Will they peek at the right possible moment? Carson's here to help. He spots out, but he is spotted. B-Will swings for one. Carson dropped by Walco. He's the low HP player, and Junior gets caught in rotation. Somehow Cynic gets by Walco. Neither player goes down, and Walco wins the second fight. Autimatic supports him. B-Will's charging into sights. Marky has to trade. It's up to him in a 1v3. Lots of time, no bomb on his back just yet, but it is recoverable. He'll dive back and try to grab it. Walco swings in, does half more damage. He's back in the saddle and back doing damage. It's up to Jeorge in the 1v1. Marky drops the smoke to allow some space to maneuver. That smoke will buy him time, but he's not going to move around it yet. Maybe slip into cave, rotate all the way back to ramp. That's a lot of time to use. A lot of time to potentially lose. Jeorge does not have a kit, but there is one right in front of him. He does have an HE as well, and that can be used onto Marky in towards cave. Marky, though, using that smoke as cover, goes for the spam, but he's not going to go for it. He's playing the long con. Pros don't fake is the old adage. We've heard time and time and time again. Now Jeorge is going to go for the smoke. Hold it this time. He will not fake. Marky, where's the spam? He's around it. He sprays late. He's out of ammo, and it gives Jeorge the round. How has he done that? Marky plays it too passive. He runs out of ammo. Jeorge picks off the clutch and grabs the op for Junior. EG2 away from sending us to Mirage.
Quite the round for Jeorge to steal away. I thought Marky had the clutch in the bag. The smoke to cross, the second smoke as well, just for good measure. He plays far too measured in the 1v1, does not respect the possibility of a stick, and that is a round that EG needed to really keep this one convincing. It forces Nouns economy, into a very bad spot. Some Galils and AK, a couple Mac 10s. Very desperate situation now for the offense as that round is ripped away from them by the Ninja.
This buy from Nouns is not the best. A couple of Mac 10s, a couple of Galils, and 1 AK proper. The utility is not exactly the best either. CJ has a full belt, but B-Wolves is limited to nothing but a smoke. Nade onto the smoke for autimatic out in middle. He sees nothing, and that is information for him, but he'll back away. Not willing to stick around too long, potentially get overrun out in house. He'll group up with the B defenses. It's a 3-2 hold. B on 3, A on 2. Bomb in limbo, running back to the B side, but mid-control being taken here by the spear point of Carson Cynic, pushing all the way up into house. Clearing through the 3 on B is going to be a very difficult proposition, though, and Carson Cynic both with a Mac 10 in hand. An odd decision to send the Mac 10s up through middle. Jeorge is waiting for this. He's been the player tasked with holding the cross. Flash is going in. Smoke's going in towards the B side. Nades as well. Jeorge will get a backstab onto Carson, but Markey takes it down autimatic. This could open things up, especially if Jeorge gets caught here. I believe he saw a shadow or something of Cynic as he gets antsy and sprays away, but the bomb is rotating back towards A. It's a good read here from Nouns. They're reading this perfectly. Jeorge is going back. He's heard the sound cues, but there still is Cynic out in mid. CJ's got the entry onto the very same man. Junior's off, gets mowed down by Cynic in the back lines, and that's the Mac 10 lurking around in middle. Time is there. Cynic's picked 2, and Walco with a 1v3 might just have to save here because the money for EG is absolutely horrendous. It's non-existent.
It's going to be a scrappy end to Ancient, and this one's far from over. Nouns bringing it back within 1, keeping 3 alive in this round, and of course, toppling this CT economy. 10-11 at this point guaranteed. 11-11 feels like a possibility given what will be the shoddy buy for the CT side. And at this point, the question is, when do we see timeouts? Do we see one come through from EG? They know that a lot weighs on a round such as this or the round following, depending on the investment.
Terrorists win.
Well, it seems that neither team wants to pull away from the other just yet. Map number 1 was another blowout, a 13-4 in the favor of Nouns. Map number 2, the pick of EG, proving to be going the distance. At least almost the distance, as there's 3 rounds left of regulation. EG can end it in regulation at either 13-10 or 13-11. Nouns would have to win 3 in a row to win it in regulation. Well, technically 4, because they've just won the last one as well. It's just pistols up here for EG now. Deagle on 1, 5.7 P250, flashbang for Wiz, and the M4A1S with a nade for Walco and armor on his person as well. Wide open B site, fake plant, just fading out pressure, which is not there. So Cynic will go back to his duty, punch in those digits, get it down onto the dirt. And that will just start a 40-second timer where EG will mull around, do what damage they can. These Nouns are going to grab an 11th round, surely. I don't see a world in which this does get tied up here, or it does not get tied up, I should say. This seems to be an inevitability at this point. Whether it's by elimination or by the tick-tick-boom, we will find ourselves at 11-11. So make a wish here, and if you're EG, your wish is to find a way to take it to map 3.
It's a big wish at this stage. Nouns are heating up yet again, and this time they have an economy behind them. All 5 survive yet again. The bank looks good. Even if they lose this round, they'll have a solid investment going into what will be a fight for overtime. CJ. Very good as the first point of contact. Again, as we've mentioned, everybody from Nouns is doing their job and then some. The frags are evenly spread across the board. And it looks like we are going to have a slightly lengthy tech pause, kind of a reset to what was a very anxiety-inducing back and forth between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, the openings of the halves were very spread. Like, it was a run for each side, a run for EG, and then a run from Nouns and their respective T starts. And then when it gets into the nitty-gritty, it gets a little bit closer, it gets a lot more tumultuous, and we're starting to come into the end of a game which is back and forth and anyone's to grab at this point. And it's a completely and totally different game from what we saw in Vertigo, where Nouns destroyed from start to finish. But here on Ancient, it's really going to come down to who catches fire at the right time. And EG, they caught fire early. They got put out. They're starting to get a little bit of spark and smolder back, but is it enough to propel them forward to a victory? And even if it is, it's going to be a limpy one and not something confident.
Yeah, I still feel like Nouns have more confidence, have more comfortability, and have better overall reads in the mid rounds. I still feel like they have a very solid grasp on the situation. I feel like EG, though, are really being kept in it by the individual performances coming through.
I agree. Walco having big moments. Junior and Jeorge as well. Those three are the engines behind this EG roster right now. Walco got it done early. Junior and Jeorge picking up the pace towards the mid and late portions of this game. But folks, it seems that this technical pause is going to take quite a while. So we are going to cut to the break. And when we come back, we'll have the conclusion of map number 2 and find out whether or not we will see Mirage here tonight, the first night of North American ECL playoffs. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We go off a tech pause and immediately into a tactical one. It is Pineapple Phillips and Boggs on the mic, and Nouns, the team to call the first tactical timeout of this series.
Yeah, we finally get a tack pause, Nate. It's nice to see, finally. But it comes at a very interesting point in the game as well. After the long tech, both teams will have cooled off, and it'll be interesting to see how that affects these players as well, as we will be getting into the round momentarily here. P90 for Wiz, also interesting to see if that moves over. I would be very concerned if it does. This one's a short tech, so don't worry, folks. We'll be getting to the game here quickly. We're not going to go to another break here, unless something goes horribly wrong, which, knock on wood, it won't. But I do like the call for the tack here from Nouns, Nate, especially since they did have that long break in between getting the ping fixed for Marquee, and that was the issue, folks. We had a massive ping spike for Marquee, so had to get that fixed before we can actually play the game again. Anyways, they get their time to fix things, to settle things down, to get back into the game mentally, and I think that's a good move from this team, which has experienced quite a bit after journeying across the pond for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, over there for quite a while, and I'm very happy to say they come back looking far improved and very comfortable. We were talking about it in the pre-show, you know, when you leave North America to practice against those teams across the pond and then come back, it can be a bit of a learning curve, relearning how the teams play across over here in North America, because it is very different. It's far looser, but I'm happy to say that Nouns have found a happy medium between how they played and then and how they play now, where it's finding tremendous success again. They have mounted a massive comeback in the second half. It was a 3-9 scoreline at the end of the first. It now rests at 11-11. That's winning 8 rounds in the second half while only losing 2.
Yeah, and they got it to 9-9 without losing a single round. So they won 6 in a row to kick off the half, and that's no small feat. And in MR12, it's so much more impactful because it brings you to a tie ball game. So right now, Nouns have given themselves the best chance of a comeback here. And all they have to do now, Nate, is win 2 more. Wiz Jr. double op, though. That's going to be hard to contest with for Nouns, especially if Wiz can land his shots. Junior's been hitting his rather consistently here. Lots of nades out for the mid-scrim. The damage being taken by Nouns. Opening kill for Jeorge. And autimatic will find one up top as well, making a double for him. And off the back of the break, EG are 3 kills, almost 4. Make it 4 now. All up to B-Wills, and there's certainly nothing he can do to win the round. It's all about doing some sort of damage. At least the money for Nouns is good enough to buy up here and try and bring it to overtime. That is about as clean as it's been for EG throughout the course of this series, and they have map point here on their pick.
Not around expected for them to win. They were on the back foot. They didn't have necessarily the best of investments, and yet they completely shut down this mid-scrim. Autimatic over smoke after Jeorge takes contact. Donut, a whiff spray from Carson up towards Jaguar as well, only adds insult to injury. VG have at least scraped by to overtime on their own map pick. Double op is still in effect for Wiz and Junior. It does make sense given both of their prowess on the gun. Nouns, though, still have enough money for a solid investment in the final round of regulation. It's AKs across the board, good utility as well. This double op is going to be a nasty surprise. CJ pushing up, expects Walco. Good one to find, a good start to right the wrong that was in the round prior. Cynic now, again, another contact, walk up the B ramp in response, reading the tendencies well. CJ just distracts the op, it's now stuck in. It will be forced into the arms of Cynic. That's a second secured. Sure, Marquee's fallen, but it's still a solid advantage going into what is a post-plant. Bomb on Carson's back, making its way over. The last 3 all coming through CT spawn. And Nouns now looking forward to overtime, unless autimatic has something to say about it. 1 secured. 3 versus 3, and Nouns, what is the post-plan setup? They're kind of stuck on site. They don't have a smoke for long. They'll just tuck into cave instead. It's still around recoverable for EG.
It is still recoverable, but it will be a very tough one to recover with no nades, no mollies, just a flash and a smoke. The flash goes high. B-Will's blinded, but he's still hiding behind the pillar, waiting for a person to peek on in. He gets spammed and eventually felled. Carson once, and it's playing off of him. 1-2 wombo combo. Autimatic's lost the live. Those Carson does the damage. Time time is too far gone. Autimatic fights for, but he gets dropped. 12-12. We are headed to overtime now, folks. Walco and Jeorge at the top of the table. Autimatic has definitely picked up the pace here at the end of this one as well. Junior is having some good impact too throughout. Nouns finding a way to get over to overtime though. From a 9-3 score line, we see another 9-3 and a 12-12 here. It's MR3, 12.5K for the money. And Nate, we will have ourselves a CSGO final if it ends in OT1.
Yes, we will. It's the beauty of it. Magic number is 16. 4 out of the 6 next rounds will net you a victory. Cynic, a missed opportunity onto the first, and he's punished by Walco. Second fares no better. Walco gets another onto CJ. He is still yet to fall as well. And Nate might be it's too shallow. Instead, he knows Walco's in this corner. He'll spam out of desperation, but it's not going to connect. The IGL giving them a solid start. The op spots B-Wills as well. B-Wills lucky to find one. Even more lucky to stay alive as well. He's making some good space for himself. Nouns, how do you pivot now? You have one, but you don't have the information. Still trailing a man.
They're running low on utility as well. Just a smoke and a flashbang for Markey. And EG are doing well not to overextend. Walco, thinking about pushing down B ramp though, does have Junior behind him. That's a good one too, but he'll win the dry fight against Markey instead as the rest of the squad is creeping up through cave. Junior's going back to watch it, and if he's not careful, he will get caught. He gets caught on the move. Nice little shotgun hopping onto B. Wills goes for the second, flicks around. Carson's still alive for a moment in time. A blip, perhaps. A Molotov to force Junior into the open. Junior goes through. Carson swings for a third, and he lands it! Carson is pulling off the incredible, but he's only got 20 seconds to work with. He's booking it to A. He's making all the noise, and Jeorge can hear him all the way. Stomping, running, tramping over to the side. He'll get there in the nick of time to get the bomb down as Jeorge comes through CT. He's running knife out, gets the M4 into the open. Carson caught. Bomb down, but not the round. Jeorge secures it, but what damage done by Carson to even get it to a 1v1 situation. The fuse comes through. The lead goes back to EG. But Carson, that third kill of all of them, absolutely ludicrous. EG are lucky to get out of this one alive. Carson could have safe planted and maybe put himself in a position to win the post plant.
Yeah, he was banking on the fact that the rotation would be a little bit slower and therefore come on the flank instead. Of course, that's not the reality. He didn't have the luxury of information, though. He did the best with what he was given, and he got very dang close to stealing that round away for his team. Regardless, Nouns still looking solid in this T side. You know, I found one on the more difficult of the two sides for both teams. Wiz again, a double, this time for him in towards Jaguar. It's CJ and Cynic to bite the dust. B-Wills again, the last one towards Snake, dancing between a rock and a hard place. Jeorge this time around is pressuring a main, and he'll further the advantage. Markey felled Carson, trying to do his darndest, but he won't get more than one this time around. The last alive is B-Wills. Found one here prior that was towards B ramp. They're so keen to give him a clean duel this time around. They are not. Walco catches him pushing the smoke. That's a clean 2 in a row now for EG, 14-12. And on the CT side, the harder side for both these teams in regulation.
Nouns need a round desperately here. They want to give themselves some sort of opportunity in half number 2 of OT1. There's an op down for Junior. Jeorge will accidentally pick that up, toss it over to Junior, and they will set up. Autimatic sprints down middle into Donut. The nade goes over into Snake, and it'll do absolutely 0 damage as Walco books it, holding W. Mouse ones the Molotov down. Smoke's behind it as well. That's a nifty little angle there. Thought for sure it would extinguish, but I'm also still not entirely used to how smokes and mollies interact in 2. It seems a little bit different than go, and not sure I like how that works out. Junior exchanges broadsides with B-Wills in the interim, though. And each player will live significantly more wounded than he was before. Bomb outside B main. Utility being spammed back and forth. Wiz eats some damage. Cynic gets caught by Junior, though, and Carson will drop Walco elsewhere on the map, out towards middle. Automatic behind that smoke. Wiz, he will just slink away, and I like this push here from Carson. I like this aggressive positioning. What was that freaking sound
pistol
glitch?
Clipping on the stairs, I believe. Or weapon clipping on the stairs.
What?
The issue is his
incarnation?
flank has been expected before. It's been found out. Carson's done it multiple times. Automatic in middle. Pressures finds one, but CJ doubles in response, and Carson bides his time. He does not force the issue. Finds another. It's just Junior now on the op. He was spotted towards back B. The bomb will go towards A instead. Nouns finally found a winning recipe on this T side of overtime, but will one be enough? That's the question.
That's a big question. It's a big if. But it all starts with, I think, that first round of half number 2 of OT1. If Nouns can tie it up at 14-all, sure, it might just well be enough. At least to secure overtime, too. That's the other thing, Nate. I mean, all you really have to do is survive to fight another overtime. Now, EG, with 2 on the more difficult side, theoretically set themselves up for victory. But Nouns can always counter. What a shot from Junior. Traded nicely by Markey, so we will see that 13th round. And there was no real time anyways for Junior, so we'll end there. This round is very critical, though, for Nouns. A loss here, it's double map point for the Evil Geniuses. And I think Mirage is all but an inevitability at that point in time. But if Nouns can tie it up at 14, then it's literally anybody's game, and they will not have an op here either. They elect not to get the op on Cynic, which is quite curious, considering that is his role in the squad. Junior has been quite impactful with his as well, although given Cynic's, I would say, less success on map number 2 with the op. He didn't even use it that much on map number 1, but he had some good moments and won the Opera's duel against Junior multiple times. Hasn't had the same amount of success here on Ancient, and so it looks like they are going to go back to this sort of mid-play, full rifles out. And B-Wills and Cave will back away. Markey's actually going to get the opening kill, though, with that spam. That's a huge boost to the Nouns here. They have this suffocating control. 3 players, 1 bottom mid, 2 towards Snake. All this information. They know where EG cannot be, and thereby know where they can be.
And the information is good information. B-Wills. Smoke deep B. He's going to drop his smoke to Cynic. The spot from the Cubby here. All 4 remaining T players are grouping up outside B doors. Molotov at the close corner along with a nade. A lot of utility being thrown in. A Molotov in exchange from B-Wills. 45 seconds left. All this utility should tell you that 3 or 4 players are here. They'll smoke the cross. They'll rush forward. Markey has a lot to do. He'll find one automatic trays, but B-Wills through the smoke combines fire with Cynic to find yet another 4 versus 2. The player crossing the plant is caught by a spam. The last alive is Junior on the op, and this is not a multi-kill weapon. It won't even fire a shot. It's instead Cynic to blindside. 14-14. Nouns tie things right back up. As you mentioned, now it feels like anyone's game. Cynic as well. You mentioned he doesn't have the op. He's had middling success. We've said since he dropped it the first time he was on Nouns, a long time ago, a year, longer even.
I feel like this was back during the RMR at that point.
It was a couple majors ago, a couple cycles ago. But we said he was better on the rifle. He looked better. He looked looser. And so I like the comfort call to go to the rifle and play more aggressive instead.
It's a good adaptation here from Nouns and from Cynic as well as an individual. And I do like it. I mean, if it works with the rifles, you don't need an op. And that's something I think we'll see some teams try and flirt with, is the lack of an AWP in CS2. The multi-kill factor is a huge thing. It's already harder to get multi-kills in CS2 than it was in Go. And the dry fight with Automatic is won by Carson. The bomb is outside A. And they're entering in the site with a very long rotation from a half HP Wiz to try and bring the bomb to the A site proper. Carson is holding in with CJ out in Donut, and it's won the first duel by CJ. Jeorge slips into Temple, but he's going to have to offer some sacrifices to have a chance in this round, because right now there's 5 alive for Nouns, and they've got all the information possible. Maybe you slip through CT, but at the same time, there still is the player on B side proper, another one holding in towards Snake to get info on ramp. What realistically can you do if you're EG here, barring a miraculous multi-kill from one of your individuals? That smoke's going to fade top Donut. They're going to throw another one in. Molotov in behind it as well. Wiz will get the bomb down, but it's a 5-man retake, and there's minimal utility, a nade and a flashbang. That's it for the evil geniuses in the post. It's a very awkward situation, and I think that Nouns expect a player in CT as well. Look how cautious B will be while he clears through. Spots out the shoulder. This is the fight, but 4 players streaming through Donut. 1 for Junior, rather, on the op, though. Marky trades it back, 3v2. Time is ticking, and CJ, or rather Cynic, is holding. It's going away, and it will be the Ninja. The Glock is out for Junior. He'll get 1, but not 2. And Nouns now have match point at the end of OT1. It's the smoke diffuse that works. And EG just losing those first 2 players, were never able to get back into the round. They got the bomb down, sure, and it did come down to a Ninja, but Nouns seem to be in control of the situation.
Yeah, an insurmountable advantage for Nouns in that round in the retake. It wasn't a pretty retake, but it got across the line, and that's all that matters in overtime. If you're in overtime, it's not pretty. It's just meant to work. EG, running out of ideas, are going to up the pace, and it's going to be towards A. Spam from CJ, good for almost 2. He's still kicking to boot. Carson in towards Donut is mollied back, sure. He can just wait for players to peek into his crosshair instead. Junior on the op finds B-Wills. That Molotov, though, almost takes Jeorge out of the round. Plant will finally be put down, but Carson through the Molotov wants to make them uncomfortable. 1 found almost a second. The bomb does hit dirt, but Marky trades. 2 versus 2, both are tagged, but Marky drops Wolko, leaving just Junior on the up and in the clutch. Smoke on the bomb. Again, a stick coming through. This time from CJ, and Junior's not spamming. Junior's not spamming. That's the round. 2 Ninjas in a row to get Nouns the victory and the match at that.
Wow. What a way to finish it off. The double Ninja in OT for a 16-14 score.